Every year that you're not invested, every month, every day that you're not invested, you're sacrificing that compound interest. You're destroying the future value of what you could have created.
So we're almost halfway through the Moneyberg mentoring course, and we've already covered a lot of valuable material. So the course begins with taking personal responsibility for your life, taking accountability for your results, and just letting go of any blame or any kind of victim mentality you're holding on to in your life. And then we looked at understanding our own psychology. So these are the fallacies of thought and the cognitive distortions behind the decisions you make every day, and these are the decisions responsible for the results you've got to this day. So getting a really good understanding of this has helped me make a lot better decisions and executing on those decisions. Understanding these thinking patterns has helped me also gain a lot of clarity on my current state and develop a future vision for my goals. Because if you know what you want and you plan for it and you execute on the right things, and this is where the guidance comes in to make sure you're working on the right things, you're going to achieve so much more than you thought you could. So even just through these few weeks of the course, my productivity has increased dramatically. And I feel good working hard because I got a lot of clarity on how the work is contributing to me achieving my long-term goals, which has helped me also boost my confidence a lot.
If it's boring to you, Derek, I got to look at math. Derek, you want me to look at math? You know what? If that's boring to you, you're not in the right spot, man. If it's boring to you to be successful, if it's boring to you, if it's too much effort for you to have to actually learn something, look, man, the more you learn, the more you're going to earn in life. There's nothing boring about that. That's the most exciting shit in the world. It's the most exciting shit in the world. Now, what can you buy with that? What would you do with those kind of returns? What would you do if you could make $30 million in the markets? And, write that down. Think that, visualize that in your head. Actually, write it in the comment box.
Yeah, put it in the comments.
Write it in the comment box. What would you do with those $30 million? What would you do with those $30 million? I think you'd only work on projects and businesses that you love. Or you wouldn't work at all. You wouldn't have time to work on something you didn't love. You wouldn't work on something you didn't love. You wouldn't have time. You wouldn't have time, You'd travel anywhere in the world. You could travel anywhere in the world. You do whatever you want. You do it when you want. Do it with whoever you want to do it with. All right? Mike A says, live free. Do what I do. Bobby V says he's going to invest. Mohammed says he's going to invest some more, get some more money. Mohammed's serious about his money.
Yeah, he's not playing.
Miguel says make more money. Yeah. I mean, they're coming in so quick, I can't read them that quick. Invest in real estate. Change generations of my family. Build generational wealth. Build the life I work. John's going to work out all day. That must be one of your folks.
Hey, yeah, man. All right, John.
What up, John? Mark says he's going to help some startups. Dora says she's going to turn it into 60 million. Dora's serious. Dora's 30 million. What was that? Toilet paper? I need 60 million. 60 million. Dora must have grew up poor like us, man. What up, Dora? Good for you. All that shit happens in the background. If you learn how to do that, if you get to that spot in life where you ain't got time to have a job because you're making too much money in your entrepreneurship, and then you made enough money in your entrepreneurship, you learned how to start saving early and make your money work for you instead of you working for your money. It happens in the background. Your portfolio is your business partner that literally makes you money when you sleep. Literally puts money in your pocket when you sleep. The key to getting started with those kind of returns consistently, it comes down to three things. I want you to take notes on this.
Pay close attention, guys.
Pay attention and take notes. There's three clear things you need to know to get those type of returns consistently. All right. Number one, you got to keep your emotions out of your investment decisions. If you're getting emotional, if every time the market swings and your little emotions get riled up, you just ain't going to do very good.
Nah.
It's not possible. Look, in a market, like, you can predict what's going to happen over the course of several years, but it's very hard the very hard part is to not waver. The very hard part is when you have these little short-term ups and downs and volatility, other people get scared. They sell too early. They sell at a loss sometimes.
Yeah.
You can have volatility in your market. There's times, in a single day I made, $1.25 million. A few days I'm over $1 million in a day. But there's other days I'm down $700,000. There's other days you're down $400,000. And that's life. And if you're not willing to tolerate some volatility, if you think it just goes straight up, you're mistaken. And a lot of people, their emotions get in the way, and things go good for a couple days and then they sell. and it keeps going good, and they lost all the real opportunity.
Yeah.
Or things go down for a couple days and they sell, and then things turn around and you missed all the real opportunity. You got to understand when to do what. Understand how to make high quality decisions for yourself. I help people with that in my Markets Mastery course. Now, a couple other thoughts about helping you control your emotions. It's like, don't invest money that you can't afford to have tied up for a few years.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be investing money that you need to pay your bills with this week.
For sure. Or borrowing money, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be very careful borrowing money. Like, if you're a financial expert, I mean, all the large hedge funds, they use borrowed money. That's called a margin account.
For sure.
It's called a margin account. So all the large investment firms, they borrow money to invest in things, but they know what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
If you know what the fuck you're doing, it's not a bad thing for you to borrow money. You're likely to turn it into a lot more money. But if you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, I wouldn't recommend that at all. I think that's generally quite a bad idea for somebody who's just starting off. I think it's generally quite a bad idea. Step 2 in there, you can't follow the masses. Do not follow the masses. Do not do what they do 2 steps later after it's too late. You got to be comfortable being a contrarian. If you just do what the masses do, you can get mediocre outcomes at best. If you do what the masses do 2 steps after they do it, then you can have below average outcomes.
For sure.
You can't follow mainstream news. The mainstream news is not your friend here. And number 3, when you pull the trigger, when it's time to buy a stock, you need to know, you have to have that very clear in your mind. Is this a trade or an investment? Why am I buying it? Under what circumstances does it make sense to sell it? How do I know if things are going the way that I want to? Is my investment thesis changing, or is it holding true as time goes? All right. The easiest way to fail at investing, the easiest way to fail is to fucking watch some random video on TV and look at some random analyst report for some asswipe that don't even own the stock that he's talking about. All right. And then you read a little random media article. And you're like, I read in blah, blah, blah. They're going, man, that's an English major. That's not a finance person. Half the people writing those things, they study journalism or English. They don't even know a goddamn thing about their business. They're just writing some nonsense for the publication. You be careful about that. Be really careful about that. You got to control your emotions. You got to know more than, any of the sources that you're looking at. You got to be able to integrate that yourself. And that leads us into number 2, is, you got to do your own research. If you're not capable of doing your own research and understanding, do the fundamentals support the decision I'm making? Is this a technically sound trade or investment? Am I properly accounting for risks involved here? Is my strategy tailored to my life experience, my level of experience? Do I know what the fuck I'm doing here? Is my portfolio diversified in a way? You don't want too much diversification. You don't make money like that. Charlie and Warren talk about that. Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. I'll get to that in a moment, but you don't want to be over diversified, or then you just get an average return. So you build wealth through having concentrated positions in top performing companies, but you also want enough diversification that if something doesn't go your way in the short term, it doesn't fucking bankrupt your ass. That you still get to play, you get to participate in the next market. All right. If you don't have all 3 of those things that I'm sharing with you, those are the first 2. Control your emotions. Do your research. Be able to do your own due diligence. Be smart enough to understand the fundamentals so you can plan it yourself. You're going to be in trouble. The third one, all right, wealth is a long-term game. Wealth is a long-term game. That chart on your screen right now, it shows how most profits are made outside of trading hours.
Yeah, it's the truth.
You can't compete with the world's smartest mathematicians. You can't compete with the world's best coders and programmers that create those algorithms with those mathematicians. Day traders take on much more risk than long-term investors. Day traders pay much more in taxes than long-term investors. The wealthiest people are not day traders. They are long-term investors. To understand that, what I said about outside of market hours, look, the market's open for a portion of the day, 5 days a week, minus holidays. All right. The rest of the news cycle happens, the world's happening all the time in the background. 75% of the time, the market's not open. But 75% of the news happens when the market's not open.
Yeah.
And that's why, the price of assets change outside of market hours. Most of the money that's made is holding things overnight, not trading during the day. Day trading is a gamble. Day trading is for people that quite literally are too dumb to understand what they're doing. They don't have the conviction to hold something overnight. They don't have the conviction because they don't know what they're doing. And that's not to insult them. That's simply to say, hey, if you're interested in doing this the right way, if you're interested in finance, if you're interested in stocks, if you're interested in understanding the global economy and how to successfully make global investments over time, that's great. But learn how to do it properly so you feel comfortable. So you can hold stocks for a period of time. You feel comfortable. You sleep good. You know that your money is working for you, earning you more money. You know your dollars out there getting you more dollars. Your euros are getting you more euros. Your rupees is getting you more rupees even. If you're a fucking Martian, you fuck whatever the fuck Martian currency is, fucking Martian dollars multiplying what you think Martians nap or this fucking, I don't know what the fucking Martian does in their spare time. I bet they do more productive shit than some of the dumbasses here on Earth. I bet they do better than that. So you need to know these few things. Now you can try to figure that out by yourself. What's your experience with people that try to learn everything by themselves?
Well, it's kind of, you got to think about it. It's like, take like the Navy SEALs, right? They're one of the most elite the elite military forces the world has ever known.
Fact.
They don't learn to be Navy SEALs by like going and buy some books or watch some YouTube videos or.
You don't say?
Nah. They go and train with other people who've already done what they're trying to do at a high level. Other former SEALs who've already did it and done it. And that's the best way to learn, in my opinion. Because if you try to figure it out yourself, it's going to take so much longer. It's going to take so much longer if you accomplish it at all, right? Like it's very difficult to accomplish something unless you have training for someone who's already done it.
A wise man once told me a story about algebra. Did you invent algebra by yourself, or did you just learn it from somebody who already thought about that shit?
Yeah, who already knew it. You know what I'm saying?
Did you invent you were born and you invented your own language, then you educated the whole world about it, or you just found a perfectly good language that seemed to work fine for communication in your region of the world?
Nah, there's some people who are good at it around you.
Yeah.
Who helped you with it.
Yeah, you don't. If you don't have time in life, you're only going to be alive so long. If you spend decades of your life, and tens of thousands of dollars fumbling around by yourself, which is expected piece of shit outcome. That's just what it is. When you spend your time doing that, you're sacrificing that compound interest that we talked about earlier. Every year that you're not invested, every month, every day that you're not invested, you're sacrificing that compound interest. You're destroying the future value of what you could have created. So you could do that. You go destroy your future if you want to, or maybe you could learn from an expert. Maybe you could learn from somebody that's already crushed those markets consistently over the past couple decades. I made many millions of dollars in the process. My investments in the last decades have made me, literally tens of millions of dollars. And my clients are making a hell of a lot of money. And, you can try to fumble around by yourself and see how that works out.
You helped me make a lot of money.
Yeah.
A ton of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's not negligible. Look, man, for your first year investing, for your first year participating in those markets at a high level, that's a goddamn good first year.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And there's no way I would have attempted to try to figure that out myself.
What do you think? Man, you're a really smart guy.
Yeah.
You got a business degree. You're an experienced entrepreneur. You got a very successful business, makes millions of dollars a year, and you've been doing that for many years.
Yeah.
All right? And handsome and tall and fit and stuff.
Oh,
quite charming. So I don't think you disagree with any of those things.
No. I didn't want to interrupt you. I didn't want to interrupt your flow of compliments. So.
Despite going to college yourself, having a business degree for undergrad, despite being a successful entrepreneur that's run a 7-figure business for several years, what would happen if you would have gone in the markets and just done, without any assistance, you just did whatever you seen other people doing?
Yeah.
What sort of results do you think you would have had?
Well, it's this is extreme hypothetical because I'm smart enough not to do that. But I can give you an example from my one of my. I don't know what I would do. It's too beyond the scope of reality. I'm smart enough to know that I need to talk to someone who everything I want to learn. I talk to somebody who's an expert at it and get that training. However, I do have an example from my nephew in Chicago. He may be on here. All right, Dallas. So if you're on here, whatever. But he saw me making some money in the market, and he didn't ask me for help, and you know, I didn't, and I gave him some like random stuff, but I'm like, listen, I'm not the guy. You need to holler at Moneyberg. He's in Chicago. You should holler at him, you know. And instead, he went on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, he said, man, I just learned on YouTube, and I was like, listen, Dallas, I would advise against that. There's a lot, any asshole can put up a YouTube video. You understand it, right? There's zero barrier of entry. And he was like, nah, I got this. I'm gonna figure it out, you know. And you know, he's dumb. I mean, he's not dumb. He's a smart kid. He has a degree too. You know, he's smart. He's a smart, intelligent guy.
Runs in your genes, no doubt.
Yeah. And so anyway, he calls me in the middle of the night, one day, trading options.
Yep.
Because he just didn't know what he was doing. Because he had made a bunch of money before, and he lost 20 grand. He lost all his profits that he had been making, because he had been winning a little bit, you know, like, you know, and trading is gambling, right? You know, he had been winning, and then one day he just lost it all. Lost all his profits and what he had before, and his account went to like negative.
Yeah.
Because he was trading on margin too, you know what I'm saying? So it was a cautionary tale, you know what I'm saying? He got back. I loaned him some money for he could work, and then he did something else for me. He paid me back and got it. But it was like, that's what happens.
So if he didn't have a rich uncle, he'd just be broke.
Oh, I don't know what yeah, I'm afraid so. I'm afraid so, man.
No disrespect to Dallas, but the moral of the story is, if he didn't have a rich uncle to bail him out for his foibles, if he would have listened to his rich uncle's advice the first time, he probably would have done better.
Yeah, no, certainly he would have. He would have had similar results, you know, because of success leaves clues.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, success leaves. But if you knew better, you do better. If you learn more, you earn more.
So don't be like Dallas, is what I'm trying to say.
Don't be like
Dallas.
Look, this is a place where time really is money. Time really is money. It's not some false urgency of like, oh, I'll just fumble around for a few years, and you know, maybe a decade later there'll be a good opportunity like this. Maybe a decade later there'll be a dislocated stocks. You know, the price from the value of the asset will be dislocated again like this. No, do it now. Learn what the fuck you're doing now. All right? It's your investment portfolio. It's your future. It's your life. All right? If you didn't like this video, please feel free to unfollow. My clients and I celebrate when the wrong person leaves our lives. But if you did like this video, if you're a person that's dedicated to success, dedicated to a better life, make sure you like and subscribe. I have a lot more to share with you. I look forward to seeing you at one of my live events in the future, or as a client on one of my paid mentoring programs.